Welcome back everyone to the Hanseatic Dreamland. Yes, in the last episode of our Hamburg-inspired theme park, we built this indoor blitz coaster, which is pretty damn amazing. There are a couple of fixes I did in between. I'll gotta show you in today's episode because you guys have commented quite a lot about it. But today I'm gonna do something completely different because there's a lot to do in this project, and today we are literally building bridges. I'm gonna talk about that. Not like only literally, we are building bridges in terms of the project, in terms of what's gonna happen in the future, and so on and so forth. But first things first, we are building a lot of not boring, I think boring is the wrong word, necessary and kind of satisfying stuff. There have been a lot of areas in the park relatively untouched, relatively unfinished, and I've been starting today to, clean them up a little bit. And even though the time lapse is gonna be a little bit on the short side today, I did a lot of stuff off screen that you don't really see because, to be honest, that was super boring for you to have on screen. I placed down a couple of staff rooms, I changed a couple of little corners here and there, I checked where I will need more staff rooms in the future. I'll show you in the real-time part. Today is going to be a bit more about the real-time part. I'm going to show you where we are at this project, but I'm also doing little areas like this over here where you can see I did plop down a couple of these old kind of containers, and I made them all like very rusty red and weathered and stuff, as if they haven't been moved in a while, and as this whole idea of the abandoned harbor is still part of the whole history of this park, I thought, also put a couple of more cranes in, making sure it all looks a lot more like a harbor area. And we'll do a lot more about this. I've specifically two areas I'm going to talk about will be receiving a bit of a glow up is the wrong word, more like a harbor up, if that's the word. It's going to make more harbor-ish. And as you can see over here, by the way, the acacia tree acts like a wonderful grass if you will be able to trade off a lot of performance. For sinking trees into the ground, the acacia tree is a great one to mimic a bit of overgrown grass. Not 3D grass, but yeah, like a bit of overgrown grass. You can see also a part of the old harbor I've now kind of built a little bit different. This is one of the regions that's going to receive a bit of a nice little facility area for our staff and also for the guests. And speaking of guests, I am struggling at the moment to get this park filled in. Not sure what Frontier exactly has changed. I've read a lot of comments that everyone is having the same issue right now in their Sandbox parks, that they just can't fill them in. Not sure if that's about the guest need or whatnot. Like usually whenever I had the park open, 12,000 guests were at least minimum, like this was idling around 12,000 as this is the limit, but I had never an issue filling that in. Yeah, well, however, now I'm even struggling to get over 3,000 guests in the park, and it looks totally annoying because, well, actually it doesn't look annoying. How does something look annoying? I don't know. It looks very ridiculous, that huge park with so little guests. I think the real capacity of this park is far beyond 20,000 at this point to make it look believable. We don't even have that limit, but yeah. By the way, this is part of a little bit of a realism part over here, which I spent a bit of time building this, to be honest. That is a bit of a kind of connection to the overall canal in that system, which is rather unnecessary, as in it doesn't really fulfill a function in the project. But I thought, you know what, it just kind of looks very interesting and realistic to have that kind of thing in here, where like the water dribbles down into somewhat of a little bazaar in front of the harbor area, which again is going to be there to, I don't know, hold in maybe some boats or so. I'm not entirely sure what I'm exactly doing with this area, because I still need to do a second entrance for the park, which is going to sit on this side, so it's all receiving a bit of a nicer kind of modern park vibe area. And then we do have this canal in between, which partially is there to just mimic we are really in an actual harbor area. So this is in total contrast to the other project I'm running now. The Fall Lake Forest is a fully intentionally planned theme park in a huge open spacious natural environment, while in this project, and I still love this to bits, we are in a project that has this predefined challenge for us of that existing harbor, which is an abandoned harbor we have purchased as an investor, but we just cannot rip everything apart and then just put like a new park in here. That would be way too expensive. So we got to deal with the space available, and some of the things I've built will only start to shine fully once the surrounding is finally done. The bad thing for you guys is that I already have a lot of stuff in my head, and I have that in my head for a long while already. I just did not have the time to fill it all in, which means you need to have the translation in your head of what this could become in the future versus what I already know it's gonna be, or at least how it should look like. So what we're going to do today is a lot of, you know, giving you an idea in the real-time part where this is going. Again, a huge skip forward. I've fixed that whole area, what I was talking about. I also filled in a couple of bridges, as you can see, made them nice and roundish over here, which I'm a big fan of. Not all of the bridges will be roundish though, but like I just wanted to make one variant. We are going to have a straight variant, and we are going to have a little bit of a more flat tilt, is that the right word? Not round, but like a normal kind of incline version. We'll have step versions, like multiple bridges, because as I've talked about quite often in this project, Hamburg actually is one of the cities with the most bridges in the world, and if I'm not completely wrong, Hamburg does feature more bridges than Venice does, which on its own is already pretty spectacular, but it also makes sense when you see the harbor and all these kind of little canals running through. So in that sense, we already have way too little bridges in here, so I need to have way more bridges, which we are doing now, you know, putting them in. This variant over here is fairly simple. It's not a huge deal, you know, it's just a fairly simple bridge. I also lost a couple of footages, by the way. I was doing a couple of other, I'm gonna show you what I did as well in the project in a bit. But, you know, my hard drive was running full a couple of times. And it's kind of funny, though. I just watched Sylph's insane blitz coaster he built. And also, I may add that as well, because there has been a very controversial discussion on my TikTok, which was rather ridiculous. I'm still not sure. I mean, that was great engagement for the TikTok. But like, people have been discussing, oh my god, it's not called Intamin Blitz anymore and whatever. Yes, Intamin does actually call it the Realism launch coaster as a more generic term now, which, you know, could be said like, oh, they're not using the name Blitz anymore. But literally, the CMs and the social media team are playing with that kind of Blitz Raid Automax name the whole time. So whether it's not called officially the Blitz anymore, everyone still knows what's meant by an Intamin Blitz. So I don't know. I thought that was a very ridiculous discussion. Like, if you want to be very nerdy in particular, yes, officially that thing isn't called the Intamin Blitz anymore, because it is frankly a way more flexible ride when it comes to just the launch coaster. So it's the Realism launch coaster system, which, okay, to be fair, but just wanted to get that off my chest, because still Sylph built that insane Intamin Blitz kind of coaster, that kind of wonderful swing launch thingy, and he did kind of a double swing launch, which I found very interesting in a super tight space. I love that. But while I was talking about this, he also said that his hard drive is almost always full because of his unfinished project, and kind of the same, I gotta admit. I've got so many projects started and so much footage I haven't used yet, so whatever. Anyways, before we jump over to the real-time part, we have to quickly talk about the sponsor of the channel. You know it by now, okay? So if you need something, we have Instant Gaming, the wonderful service that provides you with the game keys you need, or with money for your dedicated services. You can get Steam currency, you can get Xbox, whatever. You can even get EAFC coins for trading your favorite Cristiano Ronaldo or whatever, or Mbappe or whatever, Dembele, who's now the Ballon d'Or winner. I don't know what, but you can get this for great value. Just check it out, either the link in the description or the link to the top right, if I remember, put it in, and you will be greeted by great offers. You help me directly, and well, that's it. Let's transition over into the real-time part. Alright, welcome to the real-time part, and here you can see our bird's perspective of the Hamburg part and park, and you don't really see that many changes, because that is still the part of the park that remained a little bit untouched and unfinished. You can see there are two bridges I didn't really touch quite yet. It's getting a little bit more busy in the park in the minute, but it's still not as filled as I wish it would be. But you can see in the back there's a lot that has changed, and in a minute we are going to fly over. But we are still here on one of my camera towers, as we don't have fixed camera positions. Unfortunately, in the game, I still need to do a couple of things, but to maintain some of the positions. You can see everywhere there are some of these things flying around. Like, actually on the other side, I can barely spot them because they're very nicely hidden in front of the trees, I guess. But yeah, so that's that. Let's just quickly jump out of the camera perspective over here and also make it a bit more daytime. I had a very nice kind of 15, I don't know which kind of time of day it is, but anyways, this is the park. You can also see the performance is still pretty damn decent, despite the fact we have 4,500, well 4,200 people in, and we have quite a lot of stuff built in this project. We do have a lot of rides, we have a lot of stuff going on, so that is not the case. But let me just show you a couple of things that I've done that haven't been in the timeless. So first things first, I have put a little coaster here. That is a placeholder. We will though have a mouse coaster or a Schwarzkopf looping coaster in that space over here. I mean, we've got that huge area that I want to utilize better, and I'm relatively certain that I will remove these 3 rides as is in here. I mean, that was just a test for the new pack anyways, and I'm gonna put like a Schwarzkopf coaster in the center as a temporary ride, just like the one that we would have on the Düsseldorfer Rheinkirmes, for example, or the Wiener Prada. I don't even know if that's in there as well, but you know, some of these kind of moving Schwarzkopf looping coasters that still exist would be very fun to have in here, I guess. Pretty much rooting for that one to be in this space. And then we will have a bit of a staff backstage area here to the right, and we will have a couple of other things and housing in this house over here. What I also have done is I have spread a couple of houses in here. You've seen briefly that I did build a theater in here. That one is going to receive a bit more of a theming nicely around the corners, so that this is in-housed nicely as well, received a bit of color. Then I have done this corner here, as you've seen in the time lapse, but I also did a bit of prepare work over here. You can see there's one of these little kind of shelter thingies I did over here, where you can place a house in. I'm going to move that over here to be honest, to the side. So we've got that one. I also did quickly connect this to the path again, so we have people in that coaster. Well, we literally have people in that coaster. Oh, I think I unfortunately connected the path somewhere over here. I wasn't careful enough, I guess. Well, that's going to be fixed with some barriers, I guess. Otherwise, that's not that much of a big deal. I did refine, just to show you what I did after you guys messaged or commented that down below. I did refine some of the shaping, specifically that part over here has been massively reshaped, and I do love it by now, you know. There is a lot better banking, a lot better shaping of the coaster. I changed also this first element quite dramatically. It does now go into a very nicely shaped overbank turn. It has a very much more crazy kind of offset here to get into that very nice, almost like roll-ish feel. Then what I also changed is this element over here has changed a little bit. So I did give it a bit of a bump to go up, and I also increased the overbank in it. So to just make it almost overhead kind of part. That one over here stayed because I love it. I made this thing over here, this little airtime hill, a lot more pronounced, so that we do have a nicer airtime experience in here. And if we go to that corner, the next element, this is the one I changed the most. That one was a very weird left-hander, but now we go into an outward banked turn that then slowly transitions into that right-hander, which works pretty fine. You know, that one is a very interesting way of going. It also spreads out the laterals a little bit nicer. It's not as brutal anymore, and I do like it. The only thing is, it is a little bit tight over here to the lowest part, so that bit I need to change and refine a little bit, so that it does give that swing a bit nicer and not cramp into the into the pillar here anymore. That's a little bit too tight, but that's the only little bit I need to fix, at least for my liking, because the rest now seems very nice. I do love some of these layerings here of the track. I think that looks very, very nice. Autosave is going on right now. So if you want to see that from the outside, you can really see that this is so much nicer now. It gives you, this one in particular looks very nice, how it just drags the train down. But I'm just going to show you when that goes around that corner. So here we go. That, my friends, is not healthy at all. So I either have to change the pillar, which I won't, or I have to change the track a little bit, which is the far more likely thing to do. But overall, the idea to go in here with an outward banked one and then rotating towards the inside works pretty decently. So that is something I'm a lot more happy with. Like all the views over here, they are so gorgeous, by the way. And then it goes into that weird little half loop thingy to go back into the station. It's a very uncommon and unusual element, but it does what it does to bring the coaster back into its last little bit of the coaster, you know, having that tiny bit of airtime here and then bringing back the train over that nice switch track rotating table here, which I have no idea how that element would be called. It's kind of a rotation table, kind of half rotation table. It doesn't do a full rotation, and then it's just kind of pushed into the station, into the brake run, which I'm a big fan of. So I've done a lot of reshaping in here, which turned out to be nice. God, I need to get the people out of here. But yeah, so that's that. Then you've seen I've done some of the bridges, but also next to the bridges, I also did fix some of the shaping of the bridges. I did start to break up the barriers so that you do have a bit of a nicer transition over here. As you can see, the bridges seem to really do their job nicely to spread out the people a bit nicer. We also have this region over here where people all of a sudden stop to using that bridge and they still move over. As we do have barriers now, and as we do have a lot of things for the pathway to improve the overall movement, I will change a couple of things. Like if you remember back in the day when we did all of this, we did not have the curbless stuff, we did not have barriers, we did not have all these kind of things. You can see I even used the bins here to make people not crush too much into the pillars, which they still do. With the sunburn over here moving around. But so that is something I need to fix. Like as you can see, there's a lot of fixes I need to do. I started to clean up this area here. I did kind of create 2 planters, but you can see I forgot to make that one roundish too. So we'll clean this up a lot. So the next episodes, or maybe in a live stream, we'll be doing a lot of fixer-uppers. And one thing I completely built off screen is this bit over here. So I built the entire backdrop of the coaster with the cranes. If you remember, they were just placeholders in here, but now they're standing on a particular sideway here, where you can see there is like a proper K in here, or key, I should say. Or is it K? No, that one's the K. And then, or key? Whatever. I hate this word. Like, this is a wall leading into the water, just separating the water from the land, okay? That's what it is. That's what it is. And then we do have different types of ground textures over here. We'll get some rails in as well to make that work as it is. Whoops, let's just have a look over here on the other side. I created a couple of kind of craneless structures so that we can use them also throughout the entire area. We've got a couple of cranes over here. They're still the ones from Fork. I love them so much. Some of my cranes over here moving along, I changed them now to the slow type. I could actually put them into the ultra slow, and that one could go into the very slow, by the way. I think I did this once, but I did this off stream and then forgot to fix it out afterward again. Look at that one. That one is fairly prominent. Why is that so heavily visited by the people? Same goes for that one. Interesting. Maybe because they don't spread out that much. I also did a couple of changes to this coaster in the meantime. Not too many though. I did kind of change a little bit of the shaping, but nothing too major. I also need to change a couple of the supports here and there, because I did do some custom supporting. Not sure which ones are the custom ones. I think these ones are, but not all of them fit in. Oh no, these are the other ones. Where's the custom supporting? Oh yeah, there you go. I did do some custom supporting on those ones in here to just have those in the water correctly. Yeah, also there is custom supporting going on here. As you can tell, this one is custom while these ones aren't. I just need to make sure that all of this is nicely separated. So a couple of little things I need to do, but you know, all these little things, unfortunately, they do sum up. You guys are going to get burned. I think you are. Look at, oh my god. You're from the UK, or you're not doing good, whatever. That is, you're not in a good state. You are not uncomfortable, sunburned. He doesn't look that uncomfortable, does he? I mean, he looks sunburned though. Yeah, we got some restaurants over here. People seem to enjoy that one. Look at this. People are sitting over here enjoying their meal. What you got, mate, for food? That look good. Like a lasagna, you got a salad. You got some sandwiches. Good choice, though. So, yeah. Well, there's, as I said, a lot of things. Also, can we appreciate the graphics again? Damn. Oh, damn. Yeah, Brandung is still very nice indeed. People seem not to really enjoy it too much. Or do they now, by now? Oh, God, I'm still so in love with the queue. Even though you could do the queue a lot better now with the automatic kind of square edges now. But yeah, whatever. It is what it is. It works and it's fine and we're all happy. God, I'm so much in love still with all this stuff, like the transfer tracks over here. It all works so super well. That bridge is still so hilarious. Like, I love it, but I hate it at the same time. I don't know. I'm gonna keep it because it is just kind of, at this point, it's part of the park. But it literally was just done to have that interaction with the coaster and get at least a little bit of height into the project. So yeah, I think I can get away with this. It's a bit unfortunate that still no one wants to go into the piratey area, which has multiple courses, but we have to put another bridge in here. So that area is going to receive a bridge. And then we will put a huge ship in here. Either I'm going to build this myself or I'm going to use from the workshop. And we're going to have a kiddie coaster in this area, which is one of the things I wanted to do in a while. So we're going to put a kiddie coaster in here and connect the whole area back to here, which is everything we are going to do in the project. So zooming out, I can't even zoom out more than that. But zooming out, this is going to be the last part of the area on this side of the park, and the rest will be filled in with either houses or forest or street, whatever. We're going to have to look at it. And then on the other side, the last bit is going to be this one, and equally part of this one. This is where the second entrance is going to be sitting. Here is going to be the entrance, or maybe here. Just going to decide for that. And then that's it. But that sounds like not that much, but it is dramatically a lot. That is still some very good 10-ish episodes at least. So if you are in love with this project, just as I am, don't you worry. It's not going to disappear fully. But what I'm going to do is, after a couple of little fixes I want to do, I'm going to release this to the workshop so you guys can actually check this out yourself. Or you know what? Actually, if I do remember, I'm gonna put, we just do this live. Hold on, can we just save the park for a second? And we're gonna say this Hanseatic Dreamland Season 1. We're gonna call this just Season 1, whatever. And it's gonna save. There you go. It's gonna save right now, and then we're gonna go to the Frontier Workshop, and then I'm gonna upload this one. Even though it just sometimes did do a couple of issues here, because as you can see, there are some of my. I need to just like search for some of the stuff, but. Can I just do a new upload? So let's say my upload a creation. There you go. And now we gotta go all the way to Hanseatic Dreamland. Hanseatic. What's the one? That's always the case. Like, what is the one I've been saving? Is that this one? I have to look at the thumb. Wait, this is how we look at it, right? So we're gonna have to check for that one. Because they're all named the same and I can't really see. So upload a creation. Let's have a look if we can see this anywhere in here. Not really. Let's see if the screen is in here. No, that's just that one. That is the insane coaster we had last episode. That is another save we had before. Could be this one. That looks like the most recent one we are looking at. Let's have a look. Upload as new creation. Let's quickly spot if we can see. Yeah, there's the bridge. There's the bridge. Yeah, that's it. Hanseatic Dreamland Season 1. Enjoy my unfinished yet nice Hanseatic Dreamland. An abandoned harbor that we turn into a great theme park. Right, so there you go, public view, blah blah blah. So the good bit is it's going to be uploaded now. It's going to be a little bit too early in the workshop already for you guys to enjoy. So you see that before the episode airs, but that's fine. My uploads, let's have a look. There you go. Here you can see the share code. That's the share code, my friends. And if I remember, I'm going to copy that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just send this via WhatsApp to my brother. So I will actually see that one. It doesn't matter, but I will remember then having this. That's the easiest way of doing this. So here we go. Just did that. And we're going to go back to end the episode today because, well, this is what we have, my friends. This is the Hanseatic Dreamland as of 1st of October 2025. Not yet done, but looking forward to a bright future, I should say, once this is done. I must admit, my friends, when I was envisioning this the first time, I did not expect this to go so well. Most likely for the reason that I didn't expect the performance to hold up that well for the whole time. But it does, you know. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring this back to the time of day where we started, because that is so beautiful. And we just do a little flyover into what I think is the most beautiful lighting situation going on here with the park. So that's that one, and we're gonna fly just into the scene while I'm gonna say goodbye to you. Hopefully you enjoyed today's episode as much as I did. I hope you guys still enjoy this project. A very cinematic, a very scenic project, I should say. And yeah, I talked about a lot of things that will be done. Hopefully it was interesting to you. Not the usual episode of me building that many things. However, there was a reason for that because, well, check my socials today and you may know why. I don't have that much time to build this week. Well, you'll find out more very soon. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. And while passing the last bridge, I would pass the torch to you. If you want to watch anything else on my channel, feel free to do so. And I'll talk to you as always in the next one. Goodbye.